Hello, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Crit Crew info session. You all should be coming in on mute, but if you are not muted, please make sure you do that. We're going to jump right in. This really is an info session, and we're going to have time at the end for questions. I'm Kaylin Butine, one of the co-founders of the Thrive Together Network. Jamie?
I am Jamie, and I'm the other one, the other lady. And yeah, we're really excited to run you through what Crit Crew is. Kaylin is going to help out in the chat. So if you have questions, just throw them in there. We're hoping that this answers everything you need to know. And then at the end, we'll have time for more questions. So we are here to get things answered. So Crit Crew, in essence, is a 9-week program, and it provides a small group experience. And this is really important to us. We want you to have community and mentorship and feedback on your work. I know for me, as an adult practicing artist, sometimes it is hard to find good critique and to have these types of conversations. So this is a dedicated time for that. Our spring session is going to start the week of March 13th and end the week of May 9th. So that's what you are able to sign up for right now. And then we will offer it again in the fall if timing just doesn't work for you very well right now. Anything to add to that, Kaylin?
Just like your comment about being an adult, it can be hard to find, you might go out for coffee with an art friend and think, oh, I'm going to get some feedback on my work. And it's like, all you end up talking about is your kids and your struggle with your website, like what the program offers you is kind of that dedicated, focused, intentional time where, sometimes in community, it's hard to kind of get that meat and potatoes every time you meet up with an artist.
Well, and part of that is that you're paying to be in a group, so everyone kind of knows the parameters that this is time to really ask those questions that maybe you've been thinking about and don't know who to ask, because let's be real, the muggles in our lives, they don't give very good feedback. They either tell us we're wonderful or they say the wrong thing, I
Or
tell
they
you.
say it looks like a horse.
Yes, no.
Yeah, that
So
abstract painting really looks like a horse. I'm like, no, that's not what I
yeah.
was going for.
Or I just don't know where to look. Get
Yeah.
out of here. Just smile and nod. So this is a small group format. It's on Zoom, and for 9 weeks, you'll meet every week, and it's 60 minutes. So an hour together, you have a mentor that's going to help guide and facilitate. And then sometimes we have 5, but typically it's 4 artists. And that really is so that everyone has time to share and kind of get their questions answered. And then between your meetings, there's a private network group that your mentor is going to run. And that's where you can post work as you make it. It's a real time of growth if you're coming to those meetings and then you even have that access in between. It goes really quickly, and there's just a lot of bonding that happens.
Yes. Yes to all of that.
Yes. Okay, I'll let you, Kaylin, talk about our amazing mentors.
Our mentors are just folks that we've been working with, for years, like establishing relationships with other professional artists in our communities. All of these mentors have been vetted and, are fully trusted by us. Like, we would not be paying them to run these groups if we didn't think they were amazing people. And really, they offer so much more than I think what you initially think you're going to get out of the group. But all of them are professional artists. They have exhibited, a trajectory of career growth. They have communication skills. Like, there are amazing artists out there, but not everybody is a good fit to run a program that's based on communication. And all of these artists are good, organized communicators. They have well-rounded careers, so they're not people who, have become famous off of one thing, right? They kind of have diverse practices. They're all justice-oriented. They all have teaching or mentorship experience. They're very community-minded and interested in the whole community. of artists that we're a part of, they all have a range of knowledge and work with different mediums. So, and if they don't work with a medium, they can probably point you to an artist who does, or, a good resource to ask questions.
And this year we have 9 mentor choices. And so these are a couple of a grouping. And with the mentors, what's really special about this program is they actually will find a visiting artist. And that visiting artist, they pair themselves. So they decide who they want to work with. And then we work together to make sure it's a good fit. And then they will bring on a visiting artist that visiting artist who runs the 2 critique sessions. So your mentor is there for feedback for sure, but they're there for debriefing, talking through ideas. And then we have this other amazing professional artist that's going to come in and kind of give that full critique. So this is Michelle, and her and Susanna are working together. And Michelle works a lot, and who's on this call, which is exciting. She works a lot in textiles and mixed media and photography. Her practice is very interesting and multidisciplinary. And then Susanna is such an interesting artist because she actually uses found plant life, like dried leaves, and embroiders them. And so I just think that is such an interesting conversation between their work and what they're going to bring, depending on your type of work. So what you're going to do as someone who wants to sign up, you would go and you would look at these pairings and think, who would bring a new angle to my practice? Who do I want to have this time with? Because I don't know about other people, but I have reached out to artists that I really admire, and sometimes, hoping to find that mentor in the art world. And it's just hard because people are busy. And this is a place where you have direct access to people that you want to work with. So
Yeah,
another
I'll just say too, Jamie, that I think all of the artists can really serve, or all of our mentors can really serve any type of artist. So just because, somebody maybe works in the same medium as you, like maybe you're familiar with encaustic wax sculpture, like Kelly's work, or, kind of these wood pieces that Jean Grey makes. Maybe you make work similar to that. They might not necessarily be the best fit for you because they can't offer something different, right? Uh-oh.
Ooh, there's a glitch in the matrix. Keep going.
But just saying that, we guarantee that you will be with one of your top choices, but maybe it's not, the exact person that you want to work with. And the point is that all of these artists will give you something, they'll give you feedback. They have enough knowledge and experience to give you feedback on your work, whether they work in your same exact medium or not. I don't think that is necessarily important, that you match the exact type of medium.
And it might be more important to pick a medium that is not connected to your practice at all, because that can be a huge amount of growth. And I've seen that happen in this program. It's a totally different lens to things. So we wanted to share a little bit about why do we host a CRIP program? Because why does it matter? And we did a whole podcast actually recently on this, and 5 ways. And so we just wanted to share and kind of make sure that you understand that critique for us actually supports a well-rounded artistic practice. Having these conversations about our work and making space and taking up that space to have them. So it really helps you understand what others are seeing when they look at your work. We are alone a lot of the time. We're making this work typically in isolation. And again, it's great to have your partner tell you you're wonderful. We need that. But it's also really nice to have practicing other artists see it and say, I see it. I see what you're doing, and I want to know more. And that's a really beautiful moment.
Another reason that we believe that CRIT matters is that it helps you root more deeply into your art lineage. So one of the things that will happen when you prepare your photos and kind of gather your materials to present your work to your group of artists and your mentor is that you're gonna, kind of through this organization process, you're gonna see sort of the trajectory of your work. You're going to see where your work relates to other people. And then when you present it to the artists and the mentors, they're going to be able to say, oh my gosh, I so see your connection to Louise Bourgeois. Or have you ever thought about how your work might be related, to this person or that person? And it kind of helps you fill some of those gaps of knowledge and contextualizing your work, like putting your work in the context of the art lineage that you belong, what conversations your work is having, not just contemporarily, but sort of over the vastness of the art world, which I think is really exciting.
Basically, if you've been struggling with writing an artist statement, by the end of this, you're going to have so many tidbits to throw in there. You're like, and do you see this reference? And so this like we talked about, this opens you to new materials and processes. And that's what I think is so wonderful about the variety of artists, mentors, and art professionals is that, I am typically 2D. And when I see this work that other people are doing, I'm very inspired to think differently about how I'm doing my own practice. So that kind of stuff is going to happen throughout the program.
And, another thing Crit really does well, and I think the role of the mentor does well, is they help you see what are some of the next steps, right? So again, you're going to go through this process of gathering your work and, sharing with your group where you're at now. And then they're going to be able to guide you with, well, here's some ways that you could move forward. Like, here's some places that you could grow and things that you could think about in terms of your next steps to push your work even more.
Which is hard to we're always doing that on our own. So right. It's a nice break. It's like a treat for ourselves to have other people help us do that. Mm-hmm. And of course, it does nourish your artist identity. The more times we show up in spaces and we say, we are an artist and this is the work we make and it is important, the more we build that identity. And sometimes we have ebbs and flow with that identity, but by especially a paid program like this, you are really declaring that this is important. It's where you're putting your money, it's where you're putting your time. And so I truly believe, we do this on our own, but sometimes we just need to be part of something. And Kaylin and I really believe that. Absolutely. Be part of the community.
So we get this question a lot. What kind of artist do I need to be? Like, is this the right program for me? Or am I the right artist for this program? We just want you to be you. Like, you don't have to have any specific career milestones that have met. Really, what is important is that you have work that you want feedback on and that you're willing to receive that feedback, that you're willing to participate in the conversation about your work. But I think, there's no, like, you don't have to have a website necessarily. You don't have to have even worked on a CV before. Like, what you really want is work that is ready for feedback. If you're feeling stuck and you don't know where to go next, right? Or if you're just wondering how your work is being viewed by other artists, like what it's doing in the world, that's what this program does. Conversely, like, you could have won a Guggenheim, right? And you still want to know, like, the structure of a 9-week program. It's like, what am I making now? What am I ready to tackle next? Like, this program can just offer you a structure to kind of get through your next, like, phase in the studio, push your work. And we really believe that the diversity of the groups that happens when we don't have these specific requirement for artists, it's like you'll get paired with somebody in your group, like not just your mentor, but an artist who can offer you feedback and support, like you become support for each other. And so that's why we believe in the diversity of the group experience, because we want it to be this very rich and lively place where you're getting nourished from, multiple different artists and multiple different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how it's sort of organized is when you sign up. So first you'll go to our shop and we'll have a link for this, but you'll pay to say I'm in the program, and then you get sent an email from us, and there's a Google form, and that's really your time to go through our page of mentors. And you're going to go through and look at the mentors and the visiting artists, and each of those pairs have available meeting times. So this is something that we're really excited to add in, because we want people to, at no matter your life right now, you might have a day job, you might have family requirements of you. We want you to be able to participate. So we have, all of our mentors have been amazing because we've coordinated the schedule where like every time of day, mostly there is an option for you depending on your life right now. So you're going to look at the mentors, you're going to look at the visiting artists, and you're going to look at the times they've offered. And then you want to tell us 4 options, up to 4, you can do 2, that you are interested in. And then we play like Tetris game. I was gonna say Matrix game of how do we make all these group work. And we look at the information you've given us on your form. We look at the mentors and visiting artists, the time slots, and we make these groups. And it's like kind of magical because we don't know you all, but we have had great success with some groups that have bonded and still, talk and critique together. So it's very exciting. So on that note, yeah.
New this year, we're doing preset meeting times. So in the past, what we've done is we haven't had our mentors like decide when their group was going to be. That was a task that they had to do sort of as after their group was arranged. And we found that it was very challenging sometimes. You have artists who are signing up to work with these different mentors, and then they get paired in a mentor group, and you might have, the 4 artists in your group might be from 4 different time zones. And then it becomes a real challenge to figure out when your group is going to meet. And so we thought instead of doing it that way, this time we, basically took that piece out. We simplified it. So we asked our mentors, we said, we want, a variety of meeting times. We need a weekend meeting time. We need some evenings. We need some mornings. So if you'll look at our 10 groups, they're all at a slightly different time, because what we really want is for you to be able to sign up for a group that already works with your schedule. We don't want it to feel like this burden. We want it to feel like something that really fits into your practice. So one note is, please make sure that when you're looking at the times and making your mentor selections, you're aware that all of these times are listed in Eastern Standard Time. And so when you're considering, what groups to sign up for, we don't want you to sign up for a group that doesn't work for you. Make sure that you're doing your proper calculations for the time zone that you're in.
We had to just pick a time zone. It was really hard, but we decided Eastern Standard Time was our pick. Yes. So your communication, how it will work over the 9 weeks is that you'll have these weekly meetings at your time that has been scheduled, and that'll be with your mentor. 2 of those sessions will be with your visiting artists, and we'll go through all that. And then in between, it's a network group that you'll be on. So you need to be part of the Thrive Together network and be a member on there. We ask that you just get on there, a week or 2 before the meetings start, because that group becomes the place to share work in between, share updates, and it really keeps those connections going before, you show up again in person. The idea is that this is an intensive program. It's only 9 weeks. So we hope that it's kind of like, get in, get the most out of it. And then you kind of have all this good stuff to leave with and then get to work is the idea. And we do this twice a year because the idea is like, you can sign up 1 year and then take a break and then come back, because it's always different because you're always with new artists, which is really exciting.
So as Jamie said, it does happen on the network. It's kind of organized through our network hub of the Thrive Together network. And one of the things, that's really great about this, signing up to be part of this program, is you actually get to take advantage of everything that we offer on the Thrive Together network. So if you've been curious about our art residency program, our art and tea sessions, which are our weekly art and tea sessions that happen for our community on Tuesdays, we have a huge resource library of like different articles and things for artists. There's professional practice stuff. There's almost 400 artists on this network, and you have access to everybody. When you become a Crit Crew member, for the duration of the program, you need to be on the network, and then you can always choose to cancel your membership if that's not something you want to continue doing. But I think it's just nice because it kind of provides you like a free trial with just the TTN network membership in general. So that's, just another perk of the program.
It also, we are a big believer in like habits and, creating these studio habits, but also just how you operate as an artist. So going from a 9-week program where you meet every week, it can feel a little like at the end, a little lonely and a little bit like, oh, that's over. Whereas we run Art and Tea every Tuesday. So you can just plug right into, you want to keep that up and see artists every week, you can watch the recordings or come live to those sessions. So we think it's going to really help in also transitioning after the program. And so our schedule, how it kind of works is that first week is meet and greet, but you're also going to get to know your mentor really well. They're going to do a presentation for you about their practice, which is going to help build context for the whole 9 weeks that you have together. And it's also going to be just making sure that you know how to get on to the group and where everything is and all that kind of stuff. In week 2, you're in between there, you're actually going to share a piece of work and get that first critique kind of going, ask for feedback. And in week 2, you're going to share that work, talk about it, and also talk through core values. So a little bit of this identity part, finding out who each other are, and again, to just create that bonding. In those weeks, you're going to be preparing for week 3 and 4. So each member is going to do a artist presentation. So we have a whole video on what that actually means, but it's not a traditional artist talk. This is actually a presentation that your visiting artist who's going to critique you is going to get a recorded version to watch. So this presentation is actually to show context of your questions you have for them. So it's really about, it's not a whole it's not a whole retrospective of your career and how you started. It's actually, right now I'm working on this and I really need to figure out this part. How is this going to work? And you're kind of guiding them through. So it's also a great opportunity to practice sharing about your work, claiming that space, putting together a presentation. And then those are recorded and they're sent to your visiting artist. But it also is such a great way to like really connect with your other members because you're getting a full view of what they're up to, which is so inspiring.
Well,
do you want to keep going, Kaylin?
I'll keep going. And one thing I was going to say that I always love that happens with the artist presentation weeks is that you really get a chance to be each other's cheerleaders because, it can be challenging to talk about your own work and put together a presentation, but you're doing it within your group. And so everybody is kind of cheering you on and you talk about your presentation and what went well after. So, and all of this, of course, is laid out for you by your mentor. We're just kind of giving you an overview so you can think about what the program will feel like. So week 5, that is when, those presentations have been set off to your visiting artists and they will have watched those and they're going to come and actually spend, a Zoom session with you. So they're going to pick 2 of the artists and talk about their work, give them feedback. It will be a group discussion, but kind of you're spotlighting the visiting artist, their time with you and getting their feedback on your work. And then week 6 is the debrief. And we love these sessions because this is really when your group gets to come together and it's like, okay, here's what the visiting artist said to you. What did you think about that? How did that make you feel? Like you kind of process with each other the feedback that you received from the visiting artist. The visiting artist is not at the debrief session. That's where your mentor is there, like helping you. No, I don't think that's what she meant. I think she meant this. And, whatever, kind of like recontextualizing the feedback for you, helping you get out of your head, right? We can be so critical. So those debrief sessions are really special. And then that happens another time, the pairing of the visiting artist coming in and then having the debrief session with the other 2 artists, right? Because there's 4 artists in your group. And then we wrap up the program with usually a little bit of a longer session where you're going to celebrate, you're going to talk about what you learned in the program. You're going to make that plan for next steps, right? And, you know, however you want to continue communicating with your group. But we really believe in sort of the practice of celebration and reflection, and that's what'll happen in the final week.
It's gonna fly by. It's gonna be great. So we're hoping, and we've seen this, you know, we have seen this time and time again, is that at the end of this program, you're going to have received critique and feedback on your work. You're going to have these questions answered that, you know, probably you just mull over a lot. Those trying to fall asleep moments where you're like, is it working? Is it not? Well, this is a place to say it. So you're going to learn to analyze and discuss work and process it at a deeper level. Whether you went to art school or not, critique is big, and for artists, and there's a lot of ways it's not done well. And it's a good reminder to come into a space that people are very, very sensitive, very much able to articulate themselves and your work. And it's really a safe space is what we've created here. So you're going to get feedback, you're going to get critique, but we have seen time and time again that this is a comfortable space for that. And everyone's there for the right reasons. They want this, and it's a safe place to speak. So we're really excited about that. And again, to better understand where your work fits, how to share about it, how it exists in the world, you have this group to kind of look at that. And then we want you to leave with this progress towards your studio goals to know where you're headed next. So yeah, we feel very confident in saying this is what you're going to get, because we've heard this is what people get. Right. And leads into
yeah, so just a couple testimonials that I wanted to share from past members. As Jamie said, we've had hundreds of artists go through this program and so much great feedback, and many of them are still connected. Many of them put on exhibitions together. They, you know, go on to do greater things. But this program, actually, I just had a friend who's in New York City this weekend, and she was like, I just met up with one of my crit crew people that I never got to meet in person. And she sent me a text because, you know, she was like, even though you're not here in New York, like, we're thinking about you. So just this program kind of lives on in, you know, it's like a summer camp experience where you form this bond, you have this one thing that you're there to do, and you get really deep really quick, and then you can kind of feel the reverberations in the future. So let me read these. It says, do it now. This program has helped me to feel connected, not just to my own artistic practice, but to other incredible artists who are most definitely going to be in my life longer than after the 3-month mark has passed. This has been essential to my well-being. We are better together, and this program proves it. And I love this second testimonial. I think the word I've used to describe Crit Crew is magic, and really connecting with others who are coming into a critique environment from a place of support and encouragement, and who really get excited about your art and your ideas is magic. It keeps me moving with my own art when it would be far easier just to tell myself that what I have to say isn't that important, to set my art practice aside and focus on everything and everyone else. So it kind of gives you that accountability and, you know, that intentional encouragement that many of us just don't receive other places.
The muggles try, but you know, other artists are really the ones that do it for us. So the enrollment is open for spring, so that is really exciting. That will start March 13th that week and go for the 9 weeks. So it's $395 for the whole program, and we do have a payment plan. So this is an automatic thing done in PayPal. So the day that you pay in February, a month later in March, a second payment will come out, and that's of the $197.50. And so what you'll do is you'll go to the shop in Thrive Together Network /Crit Crew, and that's where you reserve your spot. So you do your payment, and then you'll get that email from us that says, choose your mentor choices and the visiting artist. So that, and we want to ask you some questions to get to know you, because that's how we put the groups together. And then also just to remember that you do need to be a network member. So network membership is $45 a month. So if you're a current member, that's great. Just get signed up. And if you have to do that, we just ask that you kind of get that done before March 1st so that you can get with your group on there. Yeah, I think we made it.
We did it.
Good
job. All
Is
right.
yeah,
You want to stop the screen share and we can just take a few questions if folks have them.
perfect. Yeah, so you're welcome to unmute if you have a question or throw it in the chat. We do have a couple amazing mentors that have been with us for a while. Sarah, I'm going to ask you to unmute. So this is, you've been a mentor for a while. My question to you is, why still mentor, Sarah? Why are you coming back for more?
That's a great question. I'll be leading my 6th and 7th groups this spring.
Yes, you will.
And I've always enjoyed every single group. I always learn something, even as the mentor. And so that's a reason that I always want to do it again. I see that question too. Do people participate in multiple crit crews? I've had people repeat my crit crew. And people who have done 3 crit crews in the past join my group. I also keep coming back because I am making new peers and friendships and colleagues through these. I don't see the mentor as someone who's coming down from on high to proclaim like what needs to happen. The mentors are facilitators who do give their feedback, but it's really about creating a bond between the group members. So I guess I keep coming back because I'm selfish, because I get something out of it each time. It kind of feeds me.
Yeah.
As an artist and, to develop my own community.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And Michelle, you are running a group. You're in Paris, so you're helping us out because we're always figuring out time zones. So you're our European representative. And why you've been a mentor a number of times as well. And what do you love about it? What do you keep coming back for?
Hi, everyone. It's very similar to Sarah. I keep coming back for the fact that there's community and all the interesting people I get to meet and interact with, and the conversations we have. It's
a dedicated place for those conversations we all want in our practice. Even as the mentors, I felt that too. Yeah. That's great.
I want to just speak for both of you and say too, one of the things that I know about the mentors is that we work with is they like a challenge and they like to solve problems or help or artists solve problems. I know like you, Sarah and Michelle have both come to me and Jamie and said, my artist is wanting this. Is it okay to share this resource? Like you are two people who are always kind of saying like, I might not know this answer, but I'm going to dig a little deeper and do the work of finding the answer for my artist. And I think you both kind of have like joy in that process of how can I like figure out the best way to be a mentor to this person and to give them what they need. So I've seen that like tangibly from both of you. And, I know the other mentors in our program are very much like that. If they don't know the answer, they're going to find it for you and be the best support they can be, which I think is great.
That's great. Any questions?
I want to pop in and just say hello. My name's Ruth Stanford, and I'm going to be working with Naomi Falk. So
Ruth, I saw you there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if you were ready for me to just put you right on the spot. So I appreciate you.
I popped in just to see what you guys were about, and I'm glad I did. And what you're talking about we're going to be doing is what I do every day, and I'm at work doing it right now. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, we're really excited.
I'm probably going to go ahead and pop out because I am teaching right now.
Okay.
I look forward to meeting people.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Okay.
All right. Take care.
Bye, Ruth.
Bye.
So there's a question in the chat I'm going to address from Morgan, and Sarah, Michelle, Jamie, feel free to answer this as well. She says, are there a number of hours per week you recommend people prepare to commit to their practice outside of the crit crew hour for those 9 weeks? Just thinking about the balance. I would say 1 to 2 hours in addition to the meeting hour. Because each week you are going to have something that you're doing, whether it's I'm pulling all the photos and I'm getting my artist presentation together. Or, you know, maybe you want to take feedback that you got from week 1 or 2 and like apply it in the studio so that you could come back and say, I tried that thing. What do you guys think? Right. We want you to be engaged on the network with your group. So there's, you know, just a little bit of just chatting, getting to know your other artists, you know, which is time, right? We're not going to pretend like that time doesn't exist. That is part of the work that you're going to put in, is like being a participant. And then, you know, there are some weeks though that like you won't necessarily need to do anything other than show up and give feedback. So for example, you know, the artist presentation weeks that you saw, they're broken up into 2 weeks. So there should be 4 artists in your group. Just one of those weeks is when you'll be presenting. And then the next week, you'll just get to show up and support your other artists and give them a high five. So it's not like every week there's an intense 1 to 2 hours, but I would say in general, that's what you can expect. But you're not going to need like, yeah, I'm doing this program and now I have like 5 hours of work. You know, really it's the focus is getting feedback probably on work that you already have done, right? So you're not like creating a brand new body of work in 9 weeks and getting feedback on that. It's more like, this is how my practice is existing right now. I'm going to spend 9 weeks thinking through it and organizing myself with the support of this program and getting feedback. In some ways, this can be a breather for like an intense studio time. But I will tell you, when you finish the program, you're going to be like, get me back in the studio. I have so many ideas. I have so much like motivation. But I like having led groups and also been a participant in groups. I really like that it kind of offers a break from, you know, the intense making and more you're like thinking and contextualizing and processing. You're slowing down that making to be more thoughtful about your work, which is what I love about the program. Anybody want to chime in, Sarah or Michelle? Michelle,
yeah.
Yeah, that when I scheduling usually with my group who's going to go in which order, we sort of pay attention to what's going on in your lives. So if like I know in the past somebody has got to work, is traveling for work 1 week, so they'll go first, or they have a holiday plan, they'll go second. You know, we're mindful of each other's schedules and try to work around that whenever we're planning it. So it's humane.
great point.
And in my group, I had one member who unexpectedly, like the first week, found out she had to move for work. So during the program, she moved. So like the studio was packed up. So, but I know her feedback was by being part of the program, she didn't lose that momentum or that connection. So by the time the program was ended, she was living in a new city, but she had all these notes, all these ideas, and then this pushed her to get the desk set up to get this work done now. So things can happen and we get that. If you can, the best thing is being able to show up live and just be there for those live meetings are the most important thing. Yeah. Anyone else?
Holly?
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm showing up late to this. I had to work.
Oh, that's
Okay.
I mostly just want you to convince me to do it is really what's going on. Like, I want to join the crit crew. I want to.
We give you permission, Holly. You can join it and you can do this for 9 weeks and it's going to be great for you.
Okay, great. I mean, my biggest thing is there's actually only one of all of the time slots that I can fit in my schedule. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's a little bit, it feels selfish, but I'm like, I either get that one or I can't join.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
definitely-
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, shoot us an email with that specific request and we will do our best to accommodate that. You know, we don't want you to, if you don't have a lot of flexibility, like that is the point of putting the meeting times up, is saying, here's a session that can accommodate your schedule, right? And yeah, so please put that request plainly to us in email and we will do our best to accommodate that for you.
And it will help us in planning, and you know, there are going to be people that could do any time slot. And so we really look at it as like it's meant to be what mentor and visiting artists you get. So if you have that one time slot, then those are the people you're supposed to work with, which is really exciting. So yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah, it was less about picking a certain mentor than it was about like, when can I make it work?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And then I just keep thinking, like, am I advanced enough in my art practice to do this? I want to so bad. And
Holly,
it feels
I-
like the
Sarah,
thing.
Sarah's on
Sarah,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah, Sarah.
Well, Holly, you just joined. I've led 5 groups so far as a mentor, and I have had really exciting and meaningful contributions and experiences with members who didn't go to art school, had never read an artist statement, or are just out of undergrad. There is something that anybody can get out of this. And people, even people who are, you know, I've had a group where someone didn't go to art school and someone else was on sabbatical and they're an art professor, and they got so much from the dialogue between the two of them. So put that concern out of your head. The group is made to meet people where they're at, and that wherever you are is a very great place to be. So
Also, I think what's special about this versus, you know, there's lots of other courses, and I run them around like your art business and artist statements and sort of that admin side of art. What's so wonderful is like the work leads this. So it's about the heart of being an artist. And I think as we get busy and as we have all these amazing goals and all these things we want to do, sometimes we forget that the heart of what we're doing is making work, and we want to talk about it. And that is a really exciting experience. So yeah. Good.
Right.
Did
Danielle,
we do it, Holly?
don't put that pressure on her, Jamie. Daniela, I think you have a question.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I'm signed up. I just signed up directly.
Love
But
it.
I was, but my only concern was, I mean, I'm also because I'm in Amsterdam, so the timing only really works very. Are you in Amsterdam too?
No, I'm in Paris, but we're on the same
Oh,
time
oh,
zone.
okay. Cool. So then the timing, you know, so that's one. So I was really looking just at the timing, but my only concern was, so I'm a sculpture artist, so that was my concern of like, well, you know, how does it work if, you know, the mentor is, you know, leading the program is working in a totally different discipline,
Mhm.
you know, and that was my only concern. I mean, I signed up, you know, I'm excited, you know, but that was my sort of like in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, will it be as impactful, or, you know, yeah.
Mhm.
I would love Sarah or Michelle to speak to that, because I know you've had artists who do not work in your mediums in your groups. Can one of you address that?
Sure. I found that it works just fine. I went to an interdisciplinary MFA, so that was my experience, was being thrown into critique with all disciplines, and I work pretty much interdisciplinarily. But I have definitely been, you know, in a group where I'm critiquing things that aren't necessarily something that I do, but there's some through lines that are always going to be valuable for discussing work, the why of why you're making it, or how does the meaning come across to an audience, things like that. So I've had that go well in the past.
Mhm.
Same here.
Oh, go ahead,
Absolutely.
Michelle. Sorry.
I've had, sorry, it's bedtime. It's getting to be bedtime here. My kids are going to be popping in and out, so I may have to mute it real quick and disappear. But absolutely not a problem. I've had all kinds of different artists and different mediums in my group that, yeah, some of them that I know nothing about. A woman was making her own egg, what I don't, but yet we had the richest conversations. And I think we all come to it with deep respect for each other's work and interest in each other's work, and as a community, as a group. And so there's a lot of connections and a lot of throughways that we find together.
Also, the
Not
mentors.
always, yeah, and it's not just the mentor, there's also then the other people who are in the group and what they bring in and their perspective on things as well, that can be really interesting and kind of lead the conversation.
Also the mentors, we talk all the time as a group. So Kaylin and I facilitate a group where all of the mentors can discuss. So there's often times where someone will put out to the group that I actually have a mentee that is working like this. And for the like there's other sculpture artists, how would you advise on this? So yes, you're having one mentor, but they have access to, we have access to each other to get you the information you need. So especially if it's something with your sculpture where you're like, it's a making process or you need advice on an actual, physical thing, we can find an avenue to get you support. So
Nice. Cool.
yeah, excited to have you. That's great. Good job.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward. Yeah.
Good.
I just want to address Morgan's question real quick. Just talking about like art school. Is this, something that I could do to maybe help me decide if I want to get an MFA or, I think like, I personally think that what Crit Crew offers is the best of what art school gives you, in that when you walk away from art school, what you want is feeling like you have been given thoughtful and encouraging feedback on your work that helps you grow, and you want networking and community, right? Like we all can go to a library. We have Wikipedia and the internet at our fingertips. Like, I'm not saying art school is not valuable and that, we would give you exactly, that full spectrum, but I do think some of the key things that you get from, an MFA program is what we offer. Like I made this program right out of my MFA because I then moved to, or I was living in a rural area and I had no artists around me. And I was like, what do I still need? Like, I still need like these very specific things that I got from my MFA that I can't get here. I need feedback and I need like intentional community. Thus, this whole program was born. So to me, like, absolutely. We have had people who, like, I'm thinking of like Victoria Schmitz and like some other people that have gone through Crit Crew even multiple times, and then they feel prepared for an MFA. Like then they go on and they go to an MFA and they might come back to Crit Crew, So I think it works very well. We've had people go through Crit Crew. Like I know somebody was signed up for Crit Crew who was currently enrolled in an MFA. So I think it like works hand in hand, but my personal opinion is that this is like the distilled, simplified version of an MFA. I mean, am I wrong, Sarah, Michelle? Like,
yeah, and it's very, very supportive and nice.
yes,
which
nobody
was
will
not my art school. I didn't do an MFA, but like no one was there telling me that I was a beautiful, unique butterfly. They were mostly telling me that they didn't like what was on the wall. So, which had its own value, but I much prefer the Crit Crew program.
And it really depends on what you put in it as well. Like if you have, it depends on how much time you have and how much you want to put in. And like, I know that, we can give you reading lists, we can give you, and make it even more like an MFA, but, or not, because you don't have time in the reality, so it's personalized as well. And it's about coming to where you're at. Instead of, I guess a traditional sort of the art school where you have to show up at a certain level. Here we can kind of adapt to real life as well.
Yeah. And there's no expectations of what you should make or what this should look like, because you're working with actual practicing artists, and we all know that we're all expressing our own thing and doing our own path. And I think that is worth a lot in this environment. Holly asked, what can I do to best prepare for Crit Crew? So if you're signing up, what do you do between now and then? That's a great question.
I think you start getting your digital assets organized. You make sure you have good pictures of your work, and you can start thinking about like, what are some of the themes? What are the questions that I have? I think like a good mentee is somebody who shows up and they're like, here's the 3 things I want to know about my work. Like, what do you see? What can I, like kind of like very specific questions. I also think like you don't have to do anything to prepare, Holly, because we are very organized. When you sign up, you have orientation videos when the program starts that like walk you through everything. You know me and Jamie, we're a little over the top when it comes to organization. So it's like you sign up, we'll send you a form, and then, you know, basically you've got a couple weeks to maybe start pulling together photos and ideas and questions. While we're kind of filling enrollment and we're putting together the groups, you won't know immediately who you're with, right? But we will, the first week in March is where kind of the floodgates will open and it'll be like, okay, Crit Crew is starting, get on the network, here's the orientation videos, we'll get you organized. And then the program, like the first week of your meeting will be that March 13th date that we're talking about. So you will have known who your mentor is. I think we said by March 2nd, I can't remember the exact date, but that then even then you'll have, you know, like 10 days to kind of get to know your group and make sure you're on the network, get organized. So like today, all you have to do is enroll. But I think it's a good question just to kind of start thinking about like, okay, what do I want to get out of this? You know, like what are some questions I have about my work? But you will have time for that. Like it is not a strenuous program.
I mean, an easy kind of question to help guide you right now is, you know, on May 9th, that's the week that this is done. What does success look like? You know, what do I, bye, Michelle, thank you. What do I, you know, what do I know? What do I have access to? You know, just starting to think about these ideas of like, this is an investment of money, it's an investment of time and your energy. So what would be really exciting at the end of this? Because that is going to inform how you show up. It's going to inform the questions you're asking, and how you're supporting other people. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste these links one more time. Our email is info@thrivetogethernetwork.com. You are welcome to ask Jamie and I any sort of question, no matter how big or small related to the program. We do hope to have the groups filled by February 26th. So there's about 10 more days for when enrollment will be open. And then, like we said, you know, we'll kind of be organizing the groups, and the groups will, like your first week one of meeting time will be that March 13th week.
But you'll have all your orientation videos, you'll have all your A-type micromanagement happening in those early March weeks.
It's not micromanagement, it's support, Jamie, what we
You're
do.
going to feel very informed. You're going to feel overly informed. That's what my goal is, okay? And then I'm going to leave you alone because then you're with your mentor, and I'm just going to make sure they're okay. Yeah.
All right, friends, thanks for being here.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
We'll be getting this recording posted so you can share it with a friend, or, you know, rewatch it if you didn't catch the beginning or whatever. But we appreciate you, and we would love to see you in Crit Crew. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great
Thank you.
day. Bye.